From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Morreale and Hitch.
All right, Hitchy. What's up, buddy?
Not much. How you doing?
Another week. This is episode number 10 of, I think it's episode number 10 of the Morreale and Hitch podcast, live here. Not really live, but when you hear us, we sound live. We sound pretty cool, but it's taped on the Ticat Audio Network. It's good to see you again, fella. Another week just flew by. What happened this last week? And maybe let's start with what happened in Ticat land this last week.
I don't know. I was not, I didn't have an opportunity to watch the game, but I did live, but I did watch it after. It didn't look good.
Didn't look good. Maybe not a funny story, but Matt Affinek and I were together yesterday because we were at this, both at this primetime sports conference. I'll talk a bit about that later. But Matty, first thing he said to me goes, I don't want to talk about what happened the other night. I said, I wouldn't want to talk about it either. It was not, you know what, you have bad games, right? We had many, many bad games. The longer you play, the more bad games you have. But with all that was in front of them in terms of locking up first place, getting home field advantage, getting the bye, one win from being in the Grey Cup, and then it all goes to hell.
Yeah. Well, I think Mazzoli still threw for almost 300 or maybe just over 300. So I think it was like, where do you go wrong? I mean, Toronto, you have to give them credit. They did what it took to win the game. And, they knew first place was on the line for them as well. And it's funny because beginning of the year, I didn't even think Toronto was going to make the playoffs. Like, it's just one of those years where they just snuck up like 9 wins, 9-4. Like, how did that happen? But, talking with guys in previous games saying, Hamilton was finding ways to lose and Toronto's finding ways to win. And you know what? It doesn't matter if it's by a point, which they beat Hamilton a couple weeks ago by a point. They still won the game and they've got they're 9-4. So just tough. But you know what? They've got their work cut out now because they've got Saskatchewan this weekend and Montreal's got Ottawa and they're both tied. They're both 7-6. So that could be a home playoff game for Hamilton. If they win, if they lose, they go to Montreal and play. So So basically, to make this simple math, if Hamilton wins, they clinch second, they get the home semifinal. That's basically it. So they're in the same situation, albeit they're fighting for a different playoff spot rather than first, which would have been nice. They're fighting for that second spot. They got to win. And then if there's a tie and both teams win and there's a carryover, whatever, Hamilton does have the advantage of the point differential, which is why if there is a tie at the end, Hamilton would take that, which is at least a good second place, finish. I think the likeliness of a tie is probably not going to happen, but you know what? But Saskatchewan, they've already clinched second. They're 9-4 and Calgary 7-6. So those guys know their destiny. Winnipeg 11-2. I can't believe Montreal. I think they beat them by 25 or 30. But again, OSHA's probably resting the guys. But tough. It's one of those things where you got to find ways to win, and they know they know. It's in their court now, right? They got to win a game to get second place.
Hey, listen, good question about it. We don't talk a lot about football because there's other people that talk about football all the time. But here, perfect question for you. So Saskatchewan basically locks up second in the West Division. So they come into this game, they got nothing. It doesn't matter if they lose. They're good. So let's assume they're not going to bring the whole contingent, right? Or let's say Cody Fajardo comes, that plays a few snaps, and we don't see him for the rest of the game, etc. When you're playing defense and you're planned all year, you've already faced these guys before, you get a good understanding of how they run their sets, what they do, this and that. Next thing you know, they show up, they got 4 new guys on offense. What does that do?
Well, same schemes, just different players, right? So you're hoping the defense could tee off and make some interceptions and some fumbles because the newer guys aren't used to playing. But those guys still want to prove themselves, right, for next year. And so they're not going to come here and just because we're playing 4 or 5, second stringers, that you don't think those guys are going to come out and try to win the game.
Well, that's the thing. It's sneaky, man. If you're Hamilton, you got to be careful.
Yeah,
these are the worst games.
Yeah.
Because they have nothing to lose, and they have players there that have been, I'm guessing, but I'm assuming, just like Winnipeg did They rested a whole shit ton of players, right? You're going to rest some of your key guys. You'll dress mostly. There's not deep enough rosters not to dress everybody. But it's those guys that just getting their first chance to play that are going balls out every play. You know what it's like the guy that goes hard in practice that you want to kill. You're like, just stop going hard in practice. Relax. We're all in the same team. Relax.
Take a breath. That reminds me of when we were released. Remember what they told us before the Winnipeg game? So so to everyone that doesn't know this, we the week that we were released, I think it was the Friday, and they said, "Oh, Hitch, Meatsy, I think Jason Moss, I think was the quarterback. But about 5 or 6 of us. You guys are veterans. You're not making the trip. We don't need to see you play. You're good. Don't worry about it." They go play Saturday, come home Sunday. We're cut Monday. I'm like,
the good old days.
I thought of that. I'm like, so those guys, they must have known before they told us that we were gone. Must have. How?
Come on. Absolutely. They had to have known. It was
what if you went down there and you caught like 12 balls for 150 yards?
That would have worked against their plan.
Crushed. They were crushed.
That would have worked against the plan.
Smart business move for them.
It's smart,
but sneaky.
Sneaky. Hey, who was your guy in practice? I already have the guy in my mind of who it should be, but I don't know if you're going to pick this guy because we played with so many different players. Who was the guy that on our team in practice over the years that you went up against that was that go hard, try hard, always 100 miles an hour guy? Who was that guy? I have a guy in my head that I want to say, but I don't know if you're thinking, because you're not going to think of this guy. He's not going to be at the top of your list in terms of, I remember this guy because we played with so many guys. Think about
Smith? No.
No.
Just kidding.
But okay, I'll give you a hint.
What?
He went to McMaster. He would be like the really poor man's version of Ben Cahoon. He played receiver.
Did he retire because of a broken finger?
He retired because he just faded into oblivion. He only played a handful. No. This is fun because now you're just going to guess a bunch of people. He only played it.
Steph Potasic.
That's a good choice.
That's a good choice. He tried hard.
Shit. It starts with a C. His first name is Chris. His last name starts with an R. I knew you want to remember because it was like
not
R. Rankin. Chris.
Oh, Jesus. Yes. It wouldn't even have came to my mind. Try hard.
He would leave his feet for everything.
Yeah. Chris Rankin.
Dive and jump. And you know what's funny is that he was doing it. There was nothing he did was wrong. But when I can't speak for you, but when you're playing defense and when you're practicing in the CFL, you're not practicing to like go 100 miles an hour every single play. You're practicing to be in the right spot at the right time and just go through the motions. But a guy like Rankin or others, to get in their chance, he would go 100 miles an hour all the time. I don't remember how many scraps that used to cause, especially on the O&D line. Remember the O&D line? Like one D line would go 100 miles an hour. The offensive line goes, guys, come on, give me a break. You know who my guy is? He was a hell of a player. But I don't know if you remember when they first signed this guy. It was 1998. I'm pretty sure. I literally had 4 broken ribs. And we signed this one DB. And he lined up across from me. And this is like day 1 or 2. I think it might have been day 2 of practice, which is always the hardest day of practice, as you know. And we were doing some one-on-ones or just some, skelly against Derek. Every time he was coming up and jacking me in behind and front. He was just trying to make the team, right? He's joining in September and the team's already made.
Yeah.
Shocker.
I was going to say
shocker.
He could hit.
Shocker. Would that first day jacked me up, I think 15 times. He just didn't know, right?
Yeah, he didn't know. But
I loved it. I love Shocker though.
Yeah, he was a beauty. Lamar McGriggs. Hey, the players we had.
It's not. It doesn't even. I don't think anybody else in the era in which we played really understood the characters that we had.
No.
It does. Like it just. And we assembled them all on one team. How did we get these guys? Like this is a Mike McCarthy special. Yeah. Like where'd these guys come from?
Yeah, must have been like Tim Terry and Joe Mumford on the ends.
Oh yeah.
Like those two, like with Calvin Tiggle in the middle and Phil Brick and Campbell and Jeff Cummins and Johnny Scott, Belly, like those type guys that are inside. You don't even need to play defense. Like these guys. How about the guy that came in the Lincoln defensive end, played for a couple of years? I can't remember his name. He always had a case of Black Label in his trunk. Bessie. No, not the Claw. Do you remember? Do you remember?
It'll come to us.
It'll come to us. It'll come to us. But speaking about in our era, I was thinking about this the other day. How successful a handful, 5 to 10 to 15 guys that you can name off the top of your head, how successful these guys were, not only as players, but now as coaches and GMs in this league, and the turnaround, because we always talked about this growing up through the league and playing. One coach would be cut from Toronto one week, he'd be in Saskatchewan the next, then he'd be in BC the next year. Like there's a lot of turnaround of the old school guys, and there's still a lot of them left, there's some awesome coaches, some great coaches. And I'm so happy that they're dedicated and stayed in with the CFL. But you're like guys like Steinhauer and Kyle Walters and O'Shea and Kahari Jones,
Dave Dickinson, Mark Washington, Baron Miles,
like all of them.
I know.
I know. That's my next question. Did you ever think in the back of your head, because we didn't know how long we were going to play, right? We were very fortunate to play 12 years, should have been 13, but But did you ever think about getting into a coach to coach, or was that completely off?
I never thought about it. It didn't interest me, but I did when we both got the old heave ho there. I went to Mac and coached at Mac, coached the receivers. I loved it. I loved it. And at that level of coaching, which is different than coaching young kids, is that if you told them something, you could actually see them do it. So it was kind of cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they had the skill level to teach them. They got it. They can do it. Young kids, you kind of, it's a work in progress. Right. Yeah. But I realized quite quickly that this job sucks as a coach, because where do you get the time? If you have a normal job, you can't. No. Where do you be? Like, how do you coach at 3 o'clock to 5:30 in the afternoon? Then you got film, then you've got training, then you've got this, then you've got that. I'm like, doesn't interest me. I like the results of the coaching, but that's why, the majority of the coaches, notwithstanding the guys we talked about, the old school coaches, they'd go through 3-4 wives. Now, mind you, I'm 3/4 of the way there already, but they go 3 or 4 wives because coaching was everything to them. Yeah. So if you're going to coach, you got to jump in. Yeah. Both feet, both hands, everything.
Can't go half-assed. Same thing with me. I think my daughter was 3 at the time when we were finished, but the timing for me was, I said to Michelle, so why don't you give back? Why don't you get into coaching? Because I didn't think I was going to play. Like, we don't think we're going to play 12, 13 years. I thought I was going to teach, give back, coach high school and do stuff like that. But I thought, you know what? I looked at the amount of time those guys are putting in. And for me at that time in my life at 37, I thought, and back then, not say, I don't know, the coaches are making some great money now, but back then, you're a special teams coordinator, you're making 40 grand, maybe. Yeah. Right. At that time.
But think of the guys that coached us. And there was a lot that basically lived in the locker room. Like that was their life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Doesn't matter when you're there. And I will never understand this coaching philosophy that you need like 18 hours in the day to get your coaching done. Like, why don't you just say, I'm going to coach to 4 o'clock today and leave? Like, what in the hell?
I won't say, but you know why. They didn't want to go home.
They want to go home. That's my whole point.
That's why they went through, hence the 3 and 4 wives. They didn't want to go home.
That's my point.
I'll never forget one of our head coaches, and I won't even say his name because he was with us for a long time, brought me in. So you know who he is now. He always used to, and great relationship with his wife, of course. But I said, Coach, why are you here 15 hours? Why are you here at 5 o'clock in the morning? You're not watching film. They're sipping on scotch, smoking cigars. They just get out of the house. Get out. Gone.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Home at 10. She's in bed. Wake up. Gone. Like
gone.
Yeah.
And they won't leave before the next guy. So they all just wait around holding out to say, well, I can't be the first one to leave. And the other guy in the cubicle beside you doesn't want to leave because you're not leaving. The quality of life is horrendous.
Yeah. Awful. But I mind you, now some of the guys, what they're making right now,
you can afford to stay later.
And to your point earlier about the 15, 16 hours, you're trying to tell me that you can't put in, 6, 8 hour, good 8 hour day and let the guys go home, let them go rest and do your filming and get your extra work in, of course, as a coach, which you have to do. You have to get the guys prepared, but as players, you got to be prepared as well. You got to take film home. I remember taking film home and watching it on those VCRs that we had. And you get prepared and you got to do it as players. And I think now it's changed a little bit because there was guys that did take a lot of film home, and the DBs and the receivers, you guys all used to meet sometimes. I guarantee I know what happened in our meeting. We'd watch film and there some guys would be on looking at this, looking at that. They weren't paying attention. They don't pay attention. Now, if you don't know, down the QE. See you later down the QE. See you later. Right? Dinner
on Delta. Yeah. Hey, you bring up a funny thing. I don't know if I've told you the story. I've told it a few times. So we always have the VHS tapes, right? That's how we watch game film. So at the end of every game, the coach would burn, 12 VHS tapes, give them to the receivers and the quarterbacks, all that stuff. And we'd have to go home and, and maybe not, burn a copy of the opposing team's game, not our game, because we would watch that as a group, but the opposing team has kind of preparation for next week. Okay, take this home, look at what they do, come back. And I remember doing that in Toronto with Adam Rita. And we're going on all year.
I know what you're going to say.
We're going on almost all year. And one day I'm handing the film in. He goes, "Hey, what'd you think of this week's prep?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's great, coach, man. And we're just the way they play that coverage, the high low, and that. I got in the bag. Like I'm picking up on that middle linebacker. He's telling." He goes, "Oh, really? That you liked it that much?" I said, "It was amazing. It was good. I'm glad that was a good cop." He opens up, he goes, "Yeah. Well, are you sure? Because there's a $50 bill attached to this VCR tape that you didn't take." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, about that." Well, he burned me. He burned me, but he knew, and he did it in a way. He did it like he wasn't mad at me because I was able to, understand the game enough that I could play at a decent level. But he scammed me. It's a great move. It's a power move.
The other move was Dennis McPhee did that as well to a couple of linebackers, gave them VCRs or tapes that were blank. The guys go, "Oh, wow, good tape. Which game was on there?" "Oh, Edmonton, Saskatchewan." "Yeah, they're blank."
The best about Deeker was, and I must say, I wasn't in these meetings because it was defensive meeting only and defensive line primarily. But why don't you tell the story about what Deeker would do the first time he walked in, new defensive line come to town. He pops in his own tape.
Yeah, he used to pop in, and God love him to death. He just to show how tough he was, because Deeker was an old school. Sudsy brought him in, jail guard on Barton Street. One of those guys that you'd love to be in an alley with him, because that guy he wouldn't let you punch anybody. He would kill everybody. He used to come in, and the new guys that would come into training camp, and he'd pop in his hockey fights. He'd pop in a VHS hockey fight of him fighting guys, not only in charity hockey games, but in regular hockey games growing up. And he was a hell of a hockey player as well.
Oh, yeah,
tough. Like, you hit that guy, and because he's got the hump on the back, and you punch him, and his neck just kind of does this, and then he smiles and gets the teeth going. But that guy used to pound guys in fights. He used to show these guys, just to show the D-line, "Don't fuck with me." That's what he's basically saying. Was. "Don't screw with me, because this is what's going to happen." He used to. He almost went at a few boys. He almost fought a few of them. But
it wasn't had nothing to do with football. It was his way of saying, "Don't fuck with me."
Yeah.
This is what I do.
Yeah, this is what I do, and I'll kill you with a big chewing tobacco.
Big chew in his mouth. Oh, we had guys that, I don't know how many listeners chew tobacco around here, but they used to chew, not the leaf. So the leaf is it's a leaf. It's like you dried tobacco leaves. Though that's reasonable. You can put it in your mouth. It's disgusting. But they used to chew the dip. And the dip is that same tobacco chopped up fine, but it also has pieces of fiberglass inside. So when you put it into your lip, it literally, cuts little tiny cuts in your lip. You don't feel, but all the nicotine goes into your bloodstream right away. It makes you go crazy. I did that once and went to a club. I'll never forget. I think it was like me and all my Mac buddies and Jason Rosatani and all these crazy bastards that we went to. in Burlington. I'm gonna forget the name of the damn
Sharkies?
place. No, the big club off of like Fairview or Plains Road near Brant Street. And again, it'll come to me just like that name of the freaking thing will come to us later, which I've already forgotten.
Jesse Smalls.
Yeah, see, I told you it happened.
Yeah, check it out. I just got it. Jesse Smalls. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
I knew it was coming.
Crazy.
Hey, who is it? Before I go on to that story, because basically the story is I put some dip in my mouth. Within about 10 seconds, I literally started spinning in circles and almost fell to the ground. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Our coaches used to dip it and swallow it.
Gut it. Yeah, called gutting.
Like pigs.
First time in university, I did it. Trevor Shaw was my roommate. Went to high school with him, of course, and he was my roommate first year at Weber. He used chewing Copenhagen, which is the stronger stuff than Skull. Yep. Packed it in with, honestly, 15 seconds, spinning, barfing, headache, like lightheaded. Never did that again. I did Skull. I chewed Skull, which wasn't as. So I did that for a couple of years, and I came home at Christmas time. My mom, mad. Oh, yeah. Spitting into beer bottles, leaving them. She's like, where are you from? Where are you from? I'm like, what do you mean? All the guys do it. My dad, not here. Does my dad take a sip?
Oh, yeah. But how many times did that happen? That the coaches be dipping and then they'd spit to a cup and then they pick up the...
It's like coffee. Don't even bother.
But Merman... One of our coaches, the Merman, we called him, he used to just dip on himself. He was so fucking lazy that instead of doing it into a cup, he'd literally just dip onto his shirt.
Yeah, right onto his shirt.
Like an animal.
Yeah, right on his shirt. Oh.
Who does that?
Oh, they
animals.
Did. Yeah.
Animals.
They just threw it in the mesh bag and threw it in Bob and did the laundry.
That's it. Then Bob's did it. You put your mesh bag together, do it up nice. You got a couple pair of socks, a short, T-shirt, jock strap, some other things. You get it back, you get a jock strap. Everything else is gone. It's just laying in the middle of nowhere.
The big safety pin opened up. You didn't put it on properly, and it's all over the place. Oh.
Hey, speaking of butts, I don't know if you remember, but rest in peace, Ronnie Lancaster Jr. No, we all know Ron Sr. had a serious cigarette addiction, but Ronnie Jr. He used to smoke, and then he would get a glass of water in front of him, and he used to take his half smoked butts and he used to put them out in the water. But the water was just filthy and disgusting, and it's like party gravy.
Week at a time, they leave it in there. They don't change it. They don't change it.
No. How do people do that? What a lifestyle.
Oh, disgusting.
Really disgusting. Bad. Oh, yikes. So listen, hey, good. What do you got?
Oh, you first.
No, I was going to say big news. I wrote it down. We talked about it earlier. Arkells halftime show.
Yep. Awesome.
That's nice.
Yeah. For those, a buddy of mine, not going to say his name, but asked me just for tickets, because these guys don't know. You get me tickets to the game.
How many people have asked you for tickets?
I said, okay, well, first of all, the league takes over. The Ticats aren't there. I've been telling guys this. Well, can you get me 4? Yeah, no problem. 500 each, no problem. I said, guys, they can get me some tickets, but
don't understand.
We just want tickets just to go see the halftime show. I'm like, you don't care about the game? It's okay. I said,
yeah, okay. I'm going to bend over backwards to get you a ticket. I get that all the time. My brother's the best. I need tickets. I said, what do you mean you need tickets? I need tickets. I said, well, there are no tickets. You need to find some. Yeah. I said, forget it, buddy.
Yeah. Don't you have a couple?
How many?
Don't you have a few right here on your chin?
No, you know what? This was, Matt and all the guys have been very gracious that if I ever need tickets, and that you and I both were offered some tickets to participate.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I won't be here. And I'm not that type of guy. I'm not going to go, hey, remember those tickets you offered me? Can I still have them? And I'm going to give them to whatever. It just doesn't work like that.
You'll just take double for the 2023.
I'll take more in 2023. I'll take 8 at least, potentially 16.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you about our weekend quick.
Yeah, do it.
So my son's minor midget, right? So U16 hockey. Went down to Mississauga to play 10 teams in this thing. So we played Friday and Saturday. We go 2 wins, 1 tie, and a loss, and we don't make any of the finals.
Really?
2-1-1, and all we had to do in the 4th game we played, we lost 2-1, and we were down 5-on-3 like for 5 minutes. They got 1 goal. So anyways, we were 2-1-1. All we had to do was tie or win that last game, and we would have been through. But the refs were, every parent always says, "Oh, the refs are bullshit." These were, honest to God, minor midget. You got to have 3 minimum refs, mostly 4 refs, but 3 refs minimum, because they're big kids, right? Yeah. They can't see everything behind the play, guys slashing, cross checking, and my guy gets a 2-minute. He crushed this guy. It was a great hit. Puck was there, everything. The guy laid there for a bit. Guy blew the whistle, gave him a 2-minute interference, and then one of his other buddies, Testa, comes over and high fives him on the ice. 2-minute misconduct. So my guy gets 4 minutes, and he's not like that. 4 minutes
because a guy came to high five him. He had an extra 2 minutes.
Got extra 2 minutes.
Was it
for taunting or unsportsmanlike conduct, they call it. So he goes off for 4. 30 seconds later, one of our guys hits a guy in the corner again. Perfect hit. He gets 2 minutes for roughing. Then our goalie tells the post kept coming off.
Yeah.
And the post, those things where you put the things that they're like, I don't know, they're heavy things. Anyways, because we played so late at night, overtime and the rink getting all snow on it, the rink was, the nets were popping off. He said, "Hey, I'm not doing this. These nets are popping off." And the ref's like, "No, it's your fault." So we told him F off, which you don't do, right? I'm kidding. He didn't say that. He just said something to him where, anyways, long story short, we're down 3 guys for 4 minutes, 5 on 3. They score 1 goal and we don't go through, but boys played so hard, so proud of them. But oh my God, just the team that won it, the team that was in the final, we beat. So
nice, buddy.
Yeah. So
that does nothing for you, but it's nice that you beat them, but they still won and whatever.
Well, I'll tell you, the good thing about it was the games were Sunday at 11:45 and 4:45 in Mississauga. So I said, yeah, but it's great because I was at home. We didn't make it. So
nice. Yeah.
That was the good part. That was the good part.
See, there's a silver lining to dads and parents out there. Yeah. Hey, listen, Butko, are you around?
Yeah.
Okay, a couple things. Number one, audio sound better last week. And by the way, David and the other David, who's Dave Cadeau, who is the chief cook and bottle washer here, wanted us to try a new system today with about 6 seconds before we went to air. So Dave Cadeau, we couldn't do it, but
no.
We couldn't do it. I'm not. We're not that technically inclined. However, we will get back to it as soon as possible. David said, just blow it off. Don't worry about Cadeau. That's basically what he said. Yeah. So, Butko, interesting. A lot of people may not know this. And I got a funny story, but maybe it's not so funny. But your brother wrote me and said, David's having a lot of fun, this and that. He goes, he's my brother, eh? I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. His name is Butko. No offense.
Who has that?
I don't know how many other Butkos around there that work in the same organization. So anyways, he wanted to explain to me that he and you were brothers.
I think he gets a little self-conscious about the B. Everyone calls him Louis B, not Louis Butko. It's like he has a little bit of an identity crisis.
He brought that up too, as if his last name has disappeared. His last name's not disappeared. He's called Louis B because his last name starts with B. His name is Butko. Yeah. So what is this? You're the younger Butko, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And David, you've told us before we got in there, you're going down tonight. Is it tonight?
Yep. To go watch tonight. By the time this airs, it'll be last night.
Why are you screaming?
Yeah, you're excited about the Elks game? You're excited about the game.
What happened? Don't get so excited.
Can we see you?
It's not a Ticat game. Jesus.
I got excited.
There he is. Look at it. What a better looking Butko. That's for sure.
Yeah, look at that.
That's for sure. This is David. Hi, everybody. Welcome to David. David's happy to be here.
So you're going down for the festivities? What are you doing first? Tell us about where you're going tonight.
Yeah, well, we're gonna pre here at my house. Louis B is actually coming with me and a couple of my buddies from Welland, and should be fun. I've never been to a CFL game ever, so.
What? So why do you call it? You just eliminated the drinking part, so it's just called pre now. There is no when you say. Are you just not saying the other part because you're trying to be respectful?
Well, it's not all drinking. So.
That's what I was going to say. That's where I was going with this.
Pre whatever.
This is new. This is a new thing. So now you can get away, in our day, it's like, hey, let's go pre-drink. Now you just say pre and it's all inclusive.
Yeah.
You get away with anything.
That.
Go with anything. I do like that. I'm gonna take that lingo and use it.
That is nice. So Louis B, your brother, is heading down there. Okay, let's talk about this for a minute. Hitch has an opinion because we played. I know David looks like you played for a long time, but you've yet to play. The S are playing like 4 games in 10 days or 4 games in 12 days or some crazy, like how is that humanly possible?
The best thing about it is you get 4 checks.
That's the only thing. And at this point, they're not making the playoffs, so they're like, screw it. Let's just go put our jersey on, show up, and get paid.
Not even just being a defensive guy, but for you too, Meetsy, running routes all the time,
getting hit,
you just
special teams.
Tired.
You can't do it.
No, you can't. It's tough. But I always remember we played Labor Day. We played Toronto on the Monday, Labor Day, and then Friday or something. Yeah, Friday. Well, we went to Toronto and played. 2 checks in 5 days is pretty good.
That was nice.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I don't think it's changed for people that don't know, but our year's salary was paid in within 18 weeks. That's how we did it. But I don't know if that's still a go, you think, or do they do it?
Yeah, it's still a per game way of doing it. Yeah.
Pretty good. All
right, Bucko. That was good, buddy. We just wanted to say hi. Hitch and I, before the next show, are probably just going to We'll just we won't. You'll decide what we did after the show starts. And David, that should be like a test.
And David, if you guys are driving down there, you should listen to a little Stevie B.
Stevie B.
See.
Yeah, Spring Love.
Louis B.
Spring Love. Stevie B.
This is what happens when you turn 51. You come up with these beautiful jokes.
And just type in Stevie B, and you're going to listen to some good tunes in the 80s.
Stevie B's good tunes.
Yes, very good.
And then
tunes.
Louis B can say Stevie B is my sister. And then we're all good.
There we go.
This is how it works. And how come your setup is better than ours? That's what I want. Look at this thing. You got an arm with an extender. You've got some sort of computer. You got like a really cool thing in majig, mic.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I paid for it.
Talk.
I had to fund this all myself. It's not.
No, it makes sense. So do you just practice like in front of the mirror? How does this work?
Yeah, no, I don't. This isn't. Ticats didn't give me any of this stuff. They didn't give me any fancy mics or anything.
Well, we'll get it for you because our show's doing so well. We'll get you some new stuff.
Well, you wouldn't believe the money that's rolling in. You wouldn't believe the sponsorship dollars. It's crazy. That's for another show. Let's not. But hey, great seeing you, David. You haven't. We'll talk to you at the end. Just let us know how we did. So what happens is David will go away, and at the end he will reiterate what we just talked about. Be like, well, you talked about this, and then you talked about this, and then you talked about that. And we're like, I know, we just talked about it. We just actually talked about it.
Oh my gosh. I'm not looking forward to Thursday either.
What's that? Your test again?
No.
I thought you did your test.
No, the test is coming up. Test is coming up probably in 10 days or so. But no, hockey. My Pens League. Yes, my third week.
Why is it called the Pens League when it's a men's league?
Because we took the league over. It's called the Pens Hockey League. We opened bank accounts.
Pens? That's like the Penn Center.
The Penguins, but it was the name of the team. That was the actual team. There's the Sharks. There's the Leafs.
Yeah.
We were the Pens, and 12 years ago. And one of my buddies, Dave Fair, was running that league for a long time, and decided this year that he's running another one. Didn't want to do it anymore. So we said, my buddy Scotty DeMont and I said, let's take it over. So we took it over, and we've got lots of stuff. But anyways,
so what's your team name? If the league is the Pens League, what's your
Pens
team
Hockey League? We're the Pens. It's good. It's good. We got all the paraphernalia. We got sweaters. Yeah, we don't have to change anything.
I mean, it's perfect. I'm not sure it makes a lot of sense. However, it makes sense for you.
Hey, we have a business account. It's the Pens Hockey League. It's a nice corporate account. All the money's in there. But no, my buddy, he had a heart attack last year. I already told you about that. But no heart attack the last 2 weeks.
That's a good start.
No defibrillators.
So nobody's died. Nobody's gone to the hospital.
Nobody's
the last
died.
Couple weeks.
But I tell you, these guys are animals.
Yeah.
You think Greg and some of the guys that could drink beers, D-Mac and all those guys that get pounded. No, I'm telling you,
but that's a profession. No, you gotta earn that.
Oh, these guys are some of my best friends, and they don't even bring some of them when you have to bring their hockey bag. They just come and sit in the room and drink beer. That's honest to God. Tell their wives, I'm just dropping the bag. They leave it in the trunk. They come in and play. We haven't had that this year because we've been short some guys, but these guys, we have one guy that drank on a tournament 52 beers in one day. He'll know who he is if he's listening. 52 beers in a day. He put the caps in his pocket, and then he had shots. So I bet probably 60 drinks in a day. Played hockey the next day.
Oh yeah, that's a professional.
52 beers. How do you drink 52?
How do you drink 52 water? I couldn't drink 10 waters.
No. Anyways, these are the guys that I play with, and love them, but they're animals.
That's a crew.
You got to come and have a pre.
I'm going to come and pre, and we'll decide what the latter part of that is after the fact. But we're definitely, I could do a pre.
Yeah.
I could figure that out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And we're in Merritton, so we're close to your work, Thorold. So we're just down the road.
Nice, buddy.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Well, that's good, man. Listen, this is I was just at this conference before we kind of wrap up and get going. It was all wrapped around. It was pretty cool. So it's been the first time in a while that I've been at a hotel that there's actually people in it. So we're down at the Western Harbor Castle right there. We've been there many times, Special Olympic dinner, other dinners, this and that. So they do this, I think 14th year, this primetime sports conference, and it is the who's who. I'm not including myself in that, but it's the who's who of kind of senior executives from all the major leagues. Scary. And so David Bettman was there, and Randy Ambrosi was there, and the guys from the AHL and NWHL, and you name it. There was Brian Burke kind of heads us up.
Awesome.
So it was pretty cool to be part of that, but tons of hockey people, as you can imagine, because the induction was that same weekend.
Yeah.
So just cool to see people again, to be in that same environment, to see people in the lobby and having a drink and just enjoying themselves. But that hockey fraternity, man, you should have seen the people lined up for autographs. You know, like the guys that would just show up because who knows what they do with the autograph once they get it.
Yeah.
Hounding people everywhere.
Like it was for us.
Like it was for us. You know, we had the one guy that would come with the mustache, and then he brought his son, and he had the system, He had a system, and he would always tell you, I'm not going to resell these, which is basically saying I'm going to resell these. He's just basically lying to do it. But, you know, I don't know how much money he would have got necessarily for yours and my autograph at that particular time. But those guys scare me, man. Those autograph seekers scare me.
This particular gentleman with the mustache would come on the train trips, and he'd have books of us. I'm like, where are you getting all this stuff?
Stuff we haven't even seen.
Never. And can I get one? No. Like, you can't get one of those. I'm like, oh, okay. I've never seen that before, but no problem. I bet you we signed, and I am not kidding when I tell you, I bet you I've signed 300 to 400 things for him over the years, at least.
Yeah.
At least.
And you won't stop. It won't stop. You'll beat him 5 years from now. He's going to get you to sign something.
And he made $200 off of 450 signatures.
Made $200 over about 12, 13 years, which is amazing on a per year basis. It's just just amazing. Well, listen, dude. We just powered through 40 minutes there. You good to wrap her up, or what's the plan?
You know what? I'm going to say good luck to the Cats this weekend. I hope they do it. I hope the boys do it. And Simone, I hope you, if you're listening to this, I doubt it, but if you are, I hope you get those 2 tackles and you pass my record, pal, because you deserve it, buddy.
Nice. Only takes 2, Right there just on your chin. I just drop 2 on Hitch's chin, Simone, and then it'll be all good to go. 3 will make you the leader. 2
just get 2 and you'll tie me.
Just get 2 and hang around with 2 for a while. Hey, listen, Ticats, you still got the opportunity to have that home game for, if you're a fan, you get 1,200 tickets, probably less now. That was yesterday for the Grey Cup. Get on that. There's going to be tons of parties that have come out. You know, at one point we thought there'd be no parties. Now there's going to be an East party, a West party. You got the award show and some other stuff. So come to Hamilton, enjoy yourself. Cats got to be in it. All they got to do is win, baby. That's it. But for the Morreale and Hitch show and David B, just like his brother Louis B, we are signing off. It's the Ticats Audio Network. Have a great day.
Morreale and Hitch, dropping every Wednesday. Subscribe, like, laugh.